this is Brindle Wolf. You're listening to Rise Awakenings, part of the Rise Radio Network where advice meets action, with programs to spark your growth, lift your spirits, and help you rise into your potential. Rise Awakenings, hear the call. Through the static, we break the wall. Your station, your voice where dreams awaken and climb. Rise Awakenings, now is the time. Rise Awakenings, let's rise together.
Start with the quiet parts, the things you hide behind your laugh. Sit with the ache a while. Let every question breathe and ask, who was I trying to be? Who am I when I just stay? Name every tender scar and let them have their say. Till your heart carries you. This is the blue.
Pages of old beliefs, stories that kept you playing small. Lay them out on the floor, see which ones never fit at all. Offer your younger self a kindness you never.
Happy Monday, everyone. Hello. Thank you for being here with me. Welcome to the Bloom. And if you're new here, the wisdom that I share on this podcast is based on my personal experience and knowledge from my educational and healing journeys. And I share, of course, in the greatest degree of love. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And I hope you get something out of every bloom. So we'll answer the chat questions in the order in which they'll be received. So start thinking of your questions as I'm talking. We're talking about listening today. So this will be an interesting one. And thank you, Micah, for being the man behind the curtain who pushes all the right buttons so I don't blow up on screen. Thank you. So if you wanted to connect with me directly, just go to healingrose.org or find me on the socials and message me. Let's dive into listening. What the heck am I talking about here with listening? So because of the weeks that we've had and the subjects that have come up, and this came up, I didn't know what I was doing. I just kind of like made this decision on Saturday to do this topic, because it came up several times during the week. And I'm like, okay, Spirit, I get the message. So we're diving in because we need to reframe certain aspects of listening in order for us to deepen our healing journey. And there's self-sabotaging things that we do without realizing it. So I kind of feel like this is an appropriate topic at this stage in this evolution of previous shows, Phoenix Talks, the core, the messages are coming in the same, the Bloom, Brindle's vision. It's all been cohesive, I'm going to say. So, and this goes right in with what we're doing on Wednesday. All right. We know we hear words, right? But it's not just hearing words. Hearing words and listening are two very different things. Okay. We know hearing happens automatically. It's a physical thing. Listening is intentional. It requires your presence. It requires your curiosity, and it requires you to surrender. Okay. Are we open to listening on a deeper level? Why are we so bad at listening sometimes? And how do we know we're bad at listening? Let's talk about it. So we listen to reply a lot of the times. Instead of receiving someone and what they're saying, we're preparing a response in our head. There's a conversation on top of this conversation happening so that we can reply instead of listening to what they're actually trying to say. We listen through our own wounds, through our own trauma, right? How many times do we mishear or misinterpret someone's intention or meaning behind what they're stating because we are thinking from our trauma brains and survival, trying to protect ourselves from being hurt. So we automatically assume. And that leads me to the next one. We make assumptions. We listen through our own assumptions. And we assume sometimes what they're going to say because you think you know. And even if you know, that doesn't mean that you're really listening. So the conversation ends before it even begins. We're listening out of fear. How many of us listen out of fear of being wrong, out of fear of being uncomfortable, fear of changing, fear of changing, fear of the noise? It just creates a lot of, we need to create space when listening. And so when we listen from a heart-centered space, we are creating a space for listening. So ask yourself, where do I stop listening? Is it when I disagree with someone? Is it when I feel criticized? When I become uncomfortable? When someone talks too long? You can answer these in the comments. I know y'all have answers for these, and you can ask me more follow-up questions based on those answers. When someone talks too long, right? Okay, so when I think I already know, that's one of my favorites. because that one applies to me directly. Sometimes I think I already know, and sometimes it's a switch that's hard to turn off. And so that one there is something that I intentionally and actively work on consciously to stop and listen. So, are you listening to yourself? That's my biggest question, right? We spend our whole lives listening to everybody around us as if they know better than us what's for us. And we don't listen to ourselves. So let's discuss the voices inside of our head. We got the voice of fear. We got the voice of ego. The voice of conditioning. That's like everything you learned from birth, so you're programming. The voice of your intuition. And the voice of love. So learning discernment is going to have to take place here of which voice is speaking, which voice is taking over. Okay? Fear is very loud and urgent, panicked, demanding, scarcity driven, right? Lack, scarcity. What if? Hurry up, protect yourself. That's what fear says. Your voice of intuition, it's quiet. It's the opposite. It's simple. It's gentle. It rarely argues. It doesn't force. It invites. Many people miss intuition because they're waiting for something dramatic to happen, but that's not your intuition voice. Often it feels like peace. Your body. Are you listening to your body? They're constantly speaking to us. Where are you tightened? Where are you soft? When does your chest expand? Does your stomach knot up? Our nervous system often notices truth before our mind does. So our body invites us to listen and to participate, right? Check your body and see how it responds to different things. Listen to what it's telling you. So what about listening to others, right? What ends up happening? What are we programmed and conditioned to believe? That we're fixing? Listening isn't fixing. Listening isn't rescuing. It's not advising. It's not witnessing. Sometimes the greatest gift we can offer another human being is our undivided attention. And people often don't need solutions. They need to feel seen, heard, understood, held. Speaking of held, how do we hold space? What does that even mean? Holding space means I trust your journey. That's what holding space means. It means resisting the urge to interrupt when someone's talking, to correct them, to rescue them, right? We're trained to fix people too. To stop rescuing. Stop trying to compare stories. Interrupting and comparing stories are a very challenging one for your neurospices, so I'm going to call that out right now. It's a challenge because our brains are wired differently, and I don't want you to confuse this. Well, isn't that mean that I'm going to have to mask now if I can't compare stories and interrupt? No, it's an exercise in patience. You're going to get to talk, and if you struggle with it disappearing, and you're worried about that, pick a word that's going to bring you back into that entire statement. It's like the card catalog. You're holding to that card catalog, and you'll be able to find that book in that archive that it hid in. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I can already hear but I'm but I know we can help ourselves, and we can learn how to practice patience and then share after we acknowledge them, because if we're listening to hear them. Okay, so we need to offer presence and not make it about ourselves. That's the idea. The idea is to be as healthy a listener as you can be. Your presence is healing, okay? And here's the thing. If you are operating from sympathy, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, but empathy, if you're wanting to operate as a better listener, you're going to require empathy. And that empathy says, I'm here with you, right? And that presence that you have with that empathy is telling the person, you don't have to carry this alone. And that's where the love is. Okay. So I want you to think about the ways in which you're not hearing yourself and you're not listening, and in the ways that you can practice listening to yourself more deeply, and how you can extend that outward. So maybe ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself, what is life teaching me right now? And listen to what your intuition is telling you. Ask yourself, where am I invited to grow? And listen to the answer that you're going to get from your intuition. What truth have I been avoiding hearing? So reflect on your relationships and things that have been said in those areas, and the things that you have heard from yourself. Like, what have you said to yourself? So what have you avoided hearing? Okay. Let's focus on hearing truth and reality for what it is. Because let's face it, listening is an act of love. When someone feels deeply heard, their nervous system relaxes, the heart opens up, trust grows, that connection grows. You're telling people that they matter, that you value their experience. It's telling them that they don't have to change for you. They can be just as they are, and you love them anyway. And so for me, listening deeply and from that heart-centered space and holding space for their experience without interjecting my own, resisting that urge, because it's not about me. And that's the reality. The reality is that in that moment, it's not the time. And so it's for that person. And that's coming from a space of love. Think about the times when you most deeply felt heard, right? So maybe that's the thing you can think about, and send gratitude to those who truly listens to you and made you feel heard, and what was different about them from others, so that you could remind yourself what it's supposed to sound like when you're out there in the world. Because let's face it, when we're triggered and we're dealing with stress in life, it's really hard for us to not listen through our trauma and not listen through our own, whatever we talked about, the fear, the whatchamacallit, the body is telling us. So I want you to practice listening to yourself and listening to others more deeply. Okay. I have a little closing thing that I want to read to you, which I don't normally do on this show, but I'm bringing it in because I just feel like this is kind of meditative. So I'm going to invite everyone to just close their eyes and listen for a minute, so I can say this for us as a shared message, so that we all can embody more of a healthy and wholesome listener to ourselves first and foremost, and to everyone around us. May we hear what our soul has been whispering. May we listen without fear. May we offer others the gift of my and our full presence. And may our words become fewer. May our compassion become greater. May our awareness become deeper. And may love always be the loudest voice that we all hear. May we become a sacred listener for ourselves, for others, and for our divine path. Okay, let's do this. Let's talk about it. Let's get some questions. Bubble Kitten says, I have to watch people's lips while I listen to people, otherwise I don't always hear right. Yeah, that fucking sucks. I have auditory processing as well, so I'm constantly saying, what was that? Can you repeat that? Not that I could, I hear things it doesn't process because I'm missing pieces of it. I know exactly what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah, I know I got to put some more money in the pot now. So if do you speak up and do you say, could you say that louder because I have auditory processing and it doesn't always register everything that you're speaking? Do you say stuff like that? If not, start saying stuff like that and then see how things shift for you. Because it's so much less stressful when you ask people to accommodate you and know that that's not a burden or a big deal. Um, if you receive backlash for that because it's an abusive situation and they're going to make fun of you or mock you or shame you in any way, stand firm in who you are. Why are you accepting that shame and mocking? If that makes them self-conscious about themselves, they're the ones who are projecting their own insecurities. Don't take that on for yourself. That's not yours. You just don't respond to it in the ways that are having you accept what that's doing. Okay, you can reject it. You can even put up the hand and be like, nope, that's for you, that's not for me, and walk away. So who else do we got? We're gonna leave that one there. Cinder kittens, that's fine, especially if you're neurospicy, and I think you said you were, because when you're neurospicy, your monkey mind needs to do something in order for you to be able to focus on hearing someone and receiving all their words. That's great. It helps. I tend to like, that's why we fidget, right? We move around a lot and we fidget because it helps us. And I close my eyes sometimes when I really want to hear, you know. It's not strange. She said, I know it seems strange, but I listen better when I'm busy and I don't know what that is. I forgot the technical term for it, but there's actually a word for it in the, because all the brain research studies for the neurodivergent mind, they've got all these names and categories. You can Google up the whole thing. But yes, that I think it's healthy for us to fidget and do something when. And because this is mental health related and we're talking about different circumstances, I'm going to bring up an experience that I personally had in the past and how I handled it, because it's a scenario in which someone finds that rude, because eye contact is supposed to be like respectful. And if you're not making eye contact, it looks like you're ignoring them. So when that happens, you can express to them, my brain works differently. You can start with, my brain works differently. I hear you better if I'm not making eye contact, because when I make eye contact, I'm focusing on making eye contact properly and I'm not hearing you. So I want to hear what you're saying. Therefore, I need to do this. If they give you pushback and they don't understand, you ain't got time for that shit. You can tell them, I know you don't understand how my brain works. You can Google it. But don't argue back and forth with someone who's thinking that you're disrespecting them because you need to hear them in a different way. I feel like explaining things, sometimes adding context. I'm not saying explain yourself. I'm saying be straight and to the point to add context so that they understand you're not meaning disrespect. There's a lot of misunderstanding in neurotypical community when communicating with neurodivergence, and there's a lot of misunderstandings. Bubble Kitten says, I used to listen out of guilt. What did I do this time type of thing. I'm laughing because it's so friggin' true. I need to add that one to my list. Thank you. It's so damn true, right? That's listening from our trauma. That's listening from our trauma. We're listening from our past pain, right? When we hear from our hurt state of being, we're not actually listening to what the person is trying to tell us. And that's not even like, there's the person who is traumatizing us may not always have the intention of doing so. And so not every communication is going to have the same impact, but we treat every interaction like it is, because that's been the case consistently, is that it keeps randomly popping up. And so you never know when the next time is going to be. Of course, your body is going to listen with those, how do I protect myself, ears, because you're scanning for danger so that you can already prepare a response. You go right into this fear and response, right? So we cannot do that anymore. We don't have to do that now. Now we can say something about ourselves. She says, I argue with myself all the time. My intuition likes to yell at me and slap me around. No, it doesn't. That's not your intuition. That's your ego. Let's sit on that one for a minute. That's your ego. So that means you're not sitting long enough with yourself and clearing your mind and just allowing the question to be answered simply and gently. You're forcing it. That argument that you have with yourself is forcing. So sit with yourself a little bit longer and let a day go by if you can. And then sit again. Don't argue with yourself, though. So are you operating from fear? That's where you ask yourself those questions. Where am I at in asking for this to be answered for me? And it's especially challenging with neurospicy folks because we want to know every answer and every outcome and every possibility. So expand your research and knowledge on whatever it is that you're questioning and alleviate some of that back and forth, because I understand that's also a thing. Okay. Saw a video that used string theory to explain listening and how when we get distracted, the string drops. Isn't that interesting? That's an interesting concept. And if you're not familiar with string theory, it's about, oh God, I'm going to get reamed. I'm so paraphrasing, and forgive my botched definition, is that we live in a multidimensional world that's attached in they're like slices, and there's a string through all of them. Oh, sorry for the description. Interesting. Cinder Kitten says, I operate a lot from fear of rejection, fear of being ignored. We want to know why we're being ignored. Yeah. That fear of rejection is directly related to how you were made to feel about yourself. And because you got rejected in multiple different ways, even if they were subtle ways, that the way to help yourself through that is to continue to empower yourself so that you're not listening from fear of being ignored and being rejected. You're being rejected and ignored by people who don't resonate with your heart-centered space and are not aligned with who you are truly and authentically. Okay? You don't need to know why you're being ignored by them. You're intentionally being dismissed. They're not your people. That's number one. Number two, self-empowerment. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. If you're not aligned, you're not aligned. I don't care who it is. Okay? It don't matter who it is. Blood, not blood, don't matter to me. You need to empower yourself and become sovereign within yourself so that you understand. You don't give a shit if somebody else rejects you. That's their problem, not yours. Okay? I hope that helps. Many will listen to lead the conversation back to them so they can talk about what's bothering them. That's true. Or even just talk about themselves. It may not even necessarily always be just bothering them. It may just be something else too. That's true. A lot of people who are just answering to reply have been calculating and already thinking of what they need to say. So, and that especially happens unintentionally, and because our brain works differently in neurospices, which is why I was circling back to saying, pick a word that's going to bring you back to that entire thing. I promise you, you'll come up with that word. Just listen to yourself. That's that inner voice. Your intuition will give it to you. Okay? So it's like, what's the topic of this statement? That helps. I have a hard time with self-approval, not needing approval from family. So I start working on that. So yeah, start working on that sovereignty, because you don't need other people's validation. You only want their approval because as a child you needed their approval in order to get care. We are completely dependent on our parents and family, origins of family, to survive. So as children, that's where this dynamic was born. So just dive a little bit deeper into that, and remind yourself that you're at a different place in life now, and you're at a different state in life now, and you do not need the approval of the difficult person. Your life cannot be spent trying to win approval from difficult people. You will have lost your entire life. Get off that train and start becoming comfortable and happy with every aspect of who you are, and start doing that deeper healing work. Okay. You're doing a great job, but I'm pointing you on this is where you need to focus right now. So that's where I'm leading you right now. Okay. So keep doing what you're doing. Part of my spicy brain is feeling like I need to know why all the time, the why for everything. I am having to get used to not getting the why and being okay with it. Yes. And that's the reality. You're not going to, because a lot of folks out there don't want to say things that might be obvious to them. To them, something should just already be known, because they don't have the capacity to think of as many scenarios and potentialities as you do. Your brain is operated to scan every potentiality. That's going to bring up a lot of questions. If the individuals are impatient with your questions, they're not your people. And find someone who's very patient and understanding and completely gets you needing more context. We need context in order to help our nervous system stay in a relaxed state of being. That's the reality. So what we do is we just trust our intuition and trust what our intuition is telling us about the scenario. And sometimes we trust that the answers that we're looking for will reveal themselves because it feels safe. That's hard to do. Talk about courage and bravery, and you're going to be okay. And surrender. That's the surrender part. This, because I mentioned surrender too, is required. This is the surrender part for us. Okay. Remind yourself that you're safe if it feels safe, and know that the answers will come. The blanks will be filled in. You'll understand later why maybe that person doesn't have their own capacity to answer all of those questions. That might be a thing. That might be overwhelming for them to receive, and they don't know how to handle it. So instead of what it does to you internally, recognize when we listen, we humanize the people. They become way more fucking human than we ever thought they were. Ooh, I'm cursing today. Ooh. That one sounded like a $5 one. So remember that we have to listen to hear the humanity in them, and stop idolizing them into something greater than ours. Stop shrinking yourself to make yourself smaller than them. They're humans. They are so, so human. When we listen on a deeper level, even if they're an asshole, when we're listening, we see them for the reality that they are, and then we can decide, oh, I see, they don't have the capacity and we're not on the same page. That's okay. Separate yourself, detach, and it's going to look different in different dynamics. I'm not talking about, completely removing yourself. It's different dynamics. Growing up being told I should be seen and not heard. Now as an adult, I'm having to learn how to speak up and not cringe when I'm heard. Absolutely. Oh, bubble kittens. That is something that each trauma survivor is navigating through. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes. I was also taught the same thing, to be seen and not heard. And even when I was seen, I was taught just stand at attention or sit still and don't move. That is torture for a neurospicy who needs to, there's energy happening that needs to happen. and we can't. And so the whole seen and not heard thing does a lot of damage to your nervous system on top of your brain function and how you feel about yourself, because it really drills home that you're not worth it and you don't matter, right? Doesn't it? We're not living there anymore, though. Having to learn tells me that you're learning it. And I think that's amazing. So I think you're all doing an amazing job on your journey. So knowing that you're having to learn and choosing to learn is an amazing thing that you're doing for yourself. So keep doing that, because that's why I say, like, some belief systems, some things, some programming, conditioning, we need to throw that stuff in the trash and set it on fire. It's trash. Okay? Upload something else, and something that's a lot healthier and more in alignment with your heart, with relaxing your nervous system, right? The don't speak unless you're spoken to, I see in that comments. That's right. That's right. A lot of us were taught that way because, again, we all were raised in some version of the toxic system that it exists and has existed for thousands of years at this point. So we're dealing with this broken system that's keeping us stuck. And by learning how to listen in a way that's healthy, it, especially to ourselves, and allowing ourselves permission to set those boundaries, to speak our truth, we don't have to be angry or upset about it. We can just talk about it like we're talking about the weather. We can just say the things to the people that we need to say the things to. And quite frankly, I have had people in my life who listen from their fear traumatized ears and can't hear what I'm saying. I simply repeat myself with the same tone, with the same energy. And by the third time, if they're still listening from their trauma ears, I simply gently state the person's name with this: you're not hearing me. I need you to hear me. Hear what I'm saying. And then I'll repeat it again. And then I'll add context. And then they realize it. So it's the way you approach it going forward. So I hope you guys are getting a lot of like good to-dos out of this to help you, because it is practice. All of this is practice, like learning a new skill in anything that you try. Okay. Bubble Kittens is saying my nervous system is still on edge. Yesterday, someone gave her a kiss on the forehead, and her whole body tensed up, and the nerve pain. Yeah, right. I'm sorry. That is because whoever attempted to do that kind of affection towards you in the past had ulterior motives and hurt you. There was some intentional damage done, or it was withheld from you and you were rejected from receiving it, or you tried to give and it was rejected. There was stuff going on around that, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. This is a practice in reminding yourself that you're safe, and a practice in reminding yourself that care, love, and affection is healthy. And remember, your pineal gland is in there, and this is actually stimulating your pineal gland, and it's necessary for our human bodies to work properly. You can Google all of that if you want, okay? Had to overcome speaking louder when dismissed. If I wasn't heard, I would, and still sometimes do, make presence more known, or not at all. That's yes, 100%. If you all need an example of that, think My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I'm Italian. That's huge in the Italian. Like, our normal volume is so big because everyone's talking over each other and competing for the microphone. Like, no one's listening. You want to talk about learning new. No one's listening. And they're all talking louder. That's why the Italian volume is so high. But that's not the only culture. You know, there's plenty of cultures out there like that. But that's a real thing. So in those types of scenarios, when I experience them, I simply say, You don't have to speak loudly. I'm close enough to hear you. Thank you. And I would say 9 times out of 10, folks don't even realize how loud they are because that's normalized communication. So this is true in trauma, in distress, right? What happens when we're in distress? Volume goes up. Volume goes up. No one's hearing anyone. Fellow Italian understands. But this happens when we're in a conflict, when there's an argument, when there's whatever, because no one's feeling heard. So what if, here's something really freaking radical. What if you were the one to listen? And then to validate that person, you repeated what they stated to make sure that I just want to make sure I understood it clearly. So you're saying this is how it infected you. Did I understand that right? And if you say it in a very gentle, loving way, not in a sarcastic, watch your tone. Listen to your own tone. I don't care how wrong they did you. This is an exercise for you in practicing, because why not practice with someone who's pissing you off? You know what I mean? So allow yourself to just ease into active listening and then calmly responding in a matter-of-fact way, in a non-threatening way. See if that shifts their energy, because guess what? They had the same crappy experience you did, but they're not where they're at in their healing journey. Where you're at is different. So remember that. You might have a lot more tools in your toolbox than they do because you're on the healing journey and learning new things. Maybe they're not. Maybe they need to see it in action, and maybe you're that person. Maybe. All you can do is try and find out and keep trying and keep doing it differently and seeing what sticks and what works. Okay? Yeah, see, you got customer service jobs that you have to actually really be intentionally focusing on the words, active listening, the tone. I tell you what, listen, yes, and making the other person feel heard and get them to trust you to do the job, 100%. Why can't we act at home with our loved ones the way we are required to act in the corporate world and in the business world? Make it make sense. Why are we all forced to be, is it fake? Like, what's fake? I think honestly, the fakeness is at home, because we don't really want to be such assholes. We don't want to really feel like shit. We don't want to feel hurt and pain, afraid, resentful, guilty. We don't want to really feel that. I think the reality is hard to see, right? Because that's considered, this is acceptable behavior and protocol at work, and you must be this way at work. Why does it leave when you go, that's respectful? Why is that just for work? That's not reserved for like strangers. Who made that up rule? Where is this coming from? Shift the narrative. Show up different at home and see what happens, because that's what it takes. It takes you showing up different for people to feel something different coming from you, to hold their defenses or let their defenses fall down, because they got walls up just like you do. It's a battle, man, every day, right? Walk off the battlefield. For years, I would talk about the trauma response that created that dynamic, but didn't face it, which far too many do, and just continue to broadcast. And hard to hold space for that in a scenario as a listener. It is. It's not easy to hold space. But again, the more we make ourselves sovereign, the more we empower ourselves and feel fully accepting of ourselves and not needing of anyone else's approval, the easier it is to hold space for someone who's attacking you. That's hard. It's so much easier with people who are more in alignment with you. And you will feel much more heard when you're with people that are more in alignment with you. So you're going to be inspired to be a better listener. The challenge and the work is holding space and listening to people who are triggering the heck out of you. That's the hard part. Okay. And Cinder, kittens, your brain is fried when there's resistance, this is a surrender part. Like, just surrender to the idea that there is options for you. It's like, when it comes to let's reframe it. When it comes to like buying a new cell phone, we're all about the options, right? How does it feel in my hand? How does it look? What is this? What is that? Where's the camera? We're all about the options. Why is it that we hold on to the old belief system that anything that has to do with emotions and personal growth is the worst thing on the planet? Like, those beliefs have to disappear, because the resistance creates all of that exhaustion, that confusion, that whatever. Surrender to the understanding that we need to expand because we learned bad intel. The world changes. Change is the only thing that maintains consistency and is constant throughout all evolutions. So why wouldn't we evolve? Reframe it for yourself so it's not as scary, because you're creating this resistance that's making you. So let yourself expand. And the internet is free. There's social media. Like, just turn it into micro learning. Start looking up content creators and start try to see and use your discernment, because if it's based in fear and it's talking about guilt, shame, resentment, this, that, revenge, jealousy, any of that kind of stuff, no, that's not where your heart is at, and you're adding to the problem. So be mindful of who it is that that you are listening to. And we are going to talk about getting out of your comfort zone on Wednesday night for Phoenix Talk. So if you can and you have time and space, please join us for that conversation, because we're going to navigate through how to get comfortable and all this other wonderful stuff about the comfort zone and its parameters. Okay. And Micah, if you want to play, do you want to play that song? You can if you want to. You don't have to. Maybe we'll just tease it if you want. It's up to you. But anyway, we are coming to a close. Okay, he said nope, we're not. We are coming to a close in a few minutes. So I want to know if there's any more comments or questions or anything that I missed that we want to talk about. Let me see. I'm taking a look. So Cinder Kitten says, I'm still fired up on freeze, flight, or fawn. So often that my nervous system doesn't know how to calm down, and I'm having a throat chakra release. All right, so here's how you calm your nervous system down. It starts with acknowledging what you're experiencing and acknowledging that your nervous system is telling you that you don't like what's happening, okay? That's what your nervous system is doing. You're in survival mode because it's telling you you don't like what's happening. So I need you to acknowledge that for yourself and validate that your feelings are right. If someone's being unkind, if someone is projecting their pain onto you, their grief onto you, whatever is happening, and they're belittling and shaming, and if you're being attacked in all of those ways, of course your nervous system is like, alert, alert, this is not good. So remove yourself from that situation. Boundaries. Just tune it out. If you coexist in the same space, because sometimes that's a thing. If you coexist in the same space, tune it out. I used to have earbuds in, and when I was around that individual, and they would just and I literally tuned them out and didn't listen to them. Even though I can hear them, I didn't listen to them. So I didn't take in what they were saying. And then I would remove my earbud and be like, what are you saying? I'm in the middle of listening to something. Were you saying something to me? Were you talking to me? Pull that one. Don't diffuse it that way. Okay? So you can get yourself safe. The idea is your body's telling you you're not safe in that moment. And If that's not the case and your body's just remembering that in these types of scenarios you had felt unsafe with other people, but that doesn't apply in this particular scenario, this is where you have an opportunity to acknowledge that that's not real right now. The truth, and this is the hard truth, are we listening to what the truth is? It may not apply now. Your body's just in that mode. You have the alarm. It's like having the alarm turned on your phone. It's going to go off every day at the same time, even long after you don't need that alarm to go off anymore. So that's what your nervous system's doing. It's just keeping you safe. That's all. Thank you, nervous system, for keeping me safe. I appreciate the information. This doesn't apply in this particular scenario. I am safe right now, and I can allow my nervous system to relax and practice speaking my truth, because this is a safe situation to practice in. Okay? Try that and see if that helps. Okay? So don't keep yourself in those scenarios. We're going to close it with that one, I believe, maybe. Let's see. Oh, here we go. One more, maybe. Oh, before we go into Founders Day, Micah, I see one more that I want to just tackle real quick. Not tackle, address. I know I still make myself small in public, and fearing being seen makes me nervous. So when people talk to me, I look like a deer in headlights and I struggle to respond, because you're coming from that space of anticipation. You're anticipating their rejection. So you're not an active listener in that scenario. So right now it's an opportunity for you to practice active listening and to practice not betraying who you are. Because when you make yourself small, thinking that you're going to avoid trouble because someone might make you uncomfortable, because you've been in trouble for being your truest self, right? So let's reframe it. Instead of being in that fear and shrinking yourself, and like you hit all the spots with this one, instead of shrinking yourself and being in that space, anticipating rejection and whatever, understand your sovereignty and understand full acceptance of yourself, so that you can be open to a new experience. Okay? You have to do the work. This is a practice time. It's a reason to practice. Remember, their response gives you information about them. They don't have any say over you, period. No one has that kind of power over you. No one can tell you who you are. You're the only one who lives your experience. Who made someone else an expert on you? Remind yourself of these things. Reframe it for yourself and say, oh, you just showed me who you are. Ugh. Okay? Flip it. Let's go. We got this. We're going to listen from now on. Founders Day is coming up. So we are offering a raffle, and I think that's going to be on Embers of Light also. So please go visit Embers of Light and look for the raffle information. I'm not sure it's up there yet, so that's also going to be told to you. If it's up there yet, cool. If not, Micah, tell me. But we'll be raffling off a mini reading to viewers, and then there's like a scale of donation that goes on. Founders Day is a day for us to, and I have a boilerplate somewhere that we haven't drafted completely yet, so I'm going to wing it, and I'm so sorry if this is going to come out wrong. But Founders Day is our way of keeping the lights on. We want to have a different kind of a day and a more celebratory day. So this raffle and this donation-based raffle is going to be assisting us with keeping the show running, because the platform has to be paid for us to be able to do this stuff and to keep this community going. So none of us are in a space and place in our own lives where it's all coming out of pocket. There's no sponsorships or anything like that. So we're hoping that all of us can kind of come together, because I know there's a lot of us. So if we each, even like $1, like anything. So Founders Day is really about like, let's help this keep going for another year. Because that Fee due is coming up soon, and it's hard to keep the lights on when we're already struggling to keep the lights on as we are. So that's what that's for. Join us on Phoenix Talk on Wednesday, because we're going to talk about uncomfortable stuff. And I love you all so much. Go to Embers of Light and enjoy this beautiful day. Stay cool in the heat wave. Yes, the Venmo and the Cash App.
From the soil of your sorrow, petals from pain, new color in tomorrow. You walk through the dark with a soft, steady truth, holding your heart till your heart carries you. This is the This is the blue.
Hey, this is Brindle Wolf. You're listening to Rise Awakenings, part of the Rise Radio Network where advice meets action, with programs to spark your growth, lift your spirits, and help you rise into your potential. Rise Awakenings, hear the call. Through the static, we break the wall. Your station, your voice where dreams awaken and climb. Rise Awakening, now is the time. Rise Awakenings, let's rise together.